Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. It's your girl D Green 2.0. Thank you for stopping by to hang out with me. Now, in case you're wondering, who the hell is D Green 2.0 when we know you as Mrs. D Green? There's a reason for that, and I failed to explain the switch for you. But before we get into that, please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Once you hit that subscription, hit that notification bell as well. This way you can be notified whenever I upload videos. And then also there's this new function that I have not been speaking about. Hype the video as well. What it does is, I guess, is it pushes me further out into the algorithm. And so I'm able to gain more visibility, right? So hook your girl up and hype me up. All right. Now, the switch of the names. So Mrs. D Green, that is the YouTube name that I created for myself when I started my channel. Now, when I started my channel, it was like 5 years ago, and it was mainly just for a assignment I had while I was in grad school. I had to, I guess, create like a video and then put it out for the company as if I was like the chief human resource officer, giving them updates, right? So I did that. And when I did it with my late husband because he helped me with it. So Mrs. D Green, which is my married name, Dwayna Green, is that. Now, my husband has passed away. So if you follow me, you know this. I'm a widow. And I've struggled a lot with readjusting and kind of like, I live with the grief of him being gone, but my life has to go on, right? So the D Green 2.0 is just a rendition of that. That is just me declaring that, yes, he is a part of my life. We have a beautiful life we built together, beautiful child we created together, but now I'm in a new stage in my life and I'm fully embracing it. I hadn't fully embraced it, right? But over this last year and a half, 2 years, I've been fully walking into just being fiercely independent, separate from being Mrs. Dwayna Green, or Mrs. Alexander Green in the form of Dwayna Green. So there you have it, D Green 2.0. You know, there's a certain trauma that comes with that too. When you build a life with someone and then you have to just rebuild your life, you know, if you don't healthily process that, you can create a world of just craziness if you don't know how to let go and move on. I've seen it, and I just don't want to be a representation of that. So that's why I'm fully embracing the change, no matter how it comes. And I talked to my daughter about all of this too, because it impacts her as well. So she's not only learning like ways to cope with grief and kind of like move on, she's also learning as a woman, because she told me this the other day, I was her role model. The things that we have to do as women to keep our strength and keep our head on and keep going, because we're very powerful. We deal with so much. And so, yes, this is a declaration of that. So welcome to D Green 2.0. All right, but that's not why we came here to talk, right? We came here to talk about episode 8 of The Real Housewives of Potomac season 10. And the name of the episode was called Pride and Pettiness. There was a lot of pettiness going on here. Didn't really see a lot of pride, but as I go through the recap, maybe the pride will stand out to me. But my mood, man, my view on some people, I was like, wow, you started to disappoint me. I hope it changes. And then there's just one person I'm beginning to just kind of give up on, unless there's like a magnanimous change of events. Angel is a chop for me. I'm sorry. I can't. I really want to give her a chance, and I'm not for like one and done, like one season wonders. If we can work with them for a second season, give them a chance to redeem themselves. However, what I've seen so far of Angel is very confusing. I really don't align with the way she thinks. For her to have the tagline that she has, and then for her to say she does the hazing, she's not a rookie woman, but then I'm watching how you're moving and channeling your energy and anger more towards someone that's not even deserving of it, yeah, I can't respect a chick like that, because you're operating as if you are a rookie woman, right? You're not operating like independent, free in thought, and just standing as a boss on your own. Like, you don't want to go after Giselle because Giselle is at the top of the food chain, and I can obviously see that's how your mind works. So you are a rookie woman. Rookie women follow hierarchies like that. And unless the org chart is paying me, which I guess in this case it is because they're on a TV show, but in real life, because that's the thing, you have to, when you watch these shows, you kind of split. You got to watch, okay, what would I do in this situation? But I get why they're doing this because they're on this show. However, you said it out of your own mouth that you're not a rookie woman, but you're acting like a rookie woman. Like, even the energy you gave Giselle when you called yourself confronting her at her party was so modest. It was so modest. But then the energy you gave to Wendy was so nasty when y'all were in Nevis at the table. So I, like, Angel, it's like even more than Kiarna, and it's becoming a chop for me. And I hate to, well, no, I don't hate to admit it, because people change their mind. When you get enough information on something, you make informed decisions. And so, like I said, unless something drastically changes with her actions and how she's moving, yeah, you can go. You can go. Bye. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get on with the episode, shall we? So, all right. Y'all know I got my notes. And yes, I have the standard 5-page notes. It's the size of this notebook. This notebook is small. So, you know, it always gives me 5 pages of notes unless there was like not much that's happened in the episode. So, all right, here we go. So they pick up where they left off at the bar, okay? Kiarna is, you know, still asking the question to Monique, trying to figure out what she's trying to do is manufacture drama between Monique and Stacy regarding Chris. And so she's asking all these questions. She's like, oh, didn't you date him or whatever? And da-da-da-da-da. And then Monique's looking at her. Everybody's looking at her. So you can tell it's Kiarna trying to have a moment. The two people you're trying to facilitate drama between didn't even bite the bait. Monique in her confessional said, well, Chris and I have been separated or divorced for almost 2 years. I would hope he would be dating someone else because I didn't want him. As long as they're nice to the kids, I could care less. And exactly. See, in real life, that's how it's done. So, epic fail, Kiarna. Make sure you and Giselle go back to the drawing board on the strategy and have a better plan of execution. Because it's clear what's going on with Kiarna. Kiarna is the puppet, not Giselle, because I said Giselle was the puppet in one of my recaps. Giselle is the puppeteer. Kiarna is one of the puppets. And because Ashley has, I guess, put in her work previous seasons, she's kind of taken a back seat more so this season. She does her part, but they have Kiarna doing the dirty work. That's what that is. It's pathetic. So that didn't work. So then now what they try to do is find another way to attack Stacy. So there's a section of that scene where you have Tia touching Giselle's butt. She's like, oh, everybody talks about my butt, but look at your butt. And so Stacy comes behind and she's like, oh, you let her touch you, but I can't touch you. And so Giselle, being Giselle, says it's because I like her or whatever. And then Ashley, Stacy makes a reference to Ashley in drag, saying how she's very attractive. And she's like kind of putting the moves on her, right? Ashley, weird, the one that's always being creepy and forward with other women, has the nerve to make it awkward that Stacy is touching her and like giving her a compliment. So it's obvious what you guys are doing. You're trying to single her out. And what you don't realize, you probably realize it now because this was filmed last year, but what you don't realize is that is just, actually it was filmed this summer. Sorry, we're still in 2025. I don't know why I'm like jumping in the future to 2026. I'm ready for this year to be over. But anyway, so what you don't realize is that's actually making Stacy come off more endearing to us fans. Because yes, she's got some flaws about her. Definitely tells white lies here and there. But she stands on business when it comes down to confronting you all. She does not allow for your attempts to shake her. She stands true in who she is, and she can get confrontational, but classy. So it's not quite working the way that you thought it was going to work out. So in that same scene, another attempt, like I said, to go after her is Ashley brings up the business. So the cannabis line, Shio. And she's like, yeah, I wasn't, expecting this and blah, blah, blah. So it becomes a conversation. Wendy. Now, Wendy, you're still my girl, but you do some things sometimes that I look at you like, what? So you had a scene with Stacey in the previous episode where you could have aired your grievances out, as much as you wanted to, talk all your ish as much as you want, right? Now, maybe this happened and it got edited out, but for you in this scene now to basically call Stacey out and say, well, if you're going to use the name or Yoruba name, you say it properly because you're not saying it properly. That's an attempt to embarrass her and kind of subtly jump on the bandwagon of teaming up against Stacey. I was like, Wendy, did you say this to her in the scene? I was just wondering, because like I said, these edits get tricky. But again, didn't faze Stacey. Then you have Angel try to come in with the assist, and she's like, so yeah, it's looking like a money grab to me. Yeah, like, kind of copycat. What is your social justice component of your business, Stacey? Trying to put on the spot. Stacey says, anyway, and keeps talking about something else. So I'm like, y'all need to back up off Stacey. She is not to be played with. She is playful, but she is not to be played with. Like, y'all, you just give it up. Give it up. So anyway, and then Stacey says, when Wendy is correcting her, I would want my Nigerian sisters to correct me, because I think Tia was the one that gave the correct pronunciation of the word. And then in the confessional, Tia says, well, I don't know if you would quite be a Nigerian sister. You pay for men. Nigerian women don't pay for men. Boys pay for us. And I was just like, girl, stop. Tia, stop. And I was even surprised at you this episode, or you lost a few points for me. Because I'm thinking like, girl, please. I know for a fact your husband is not maintaining y'all lifestyle. You come from royalty, right? So I'm going to assume that you're the breadwinner. And that's fine. I'm a modern woman, so I'm okay with that. If the mind, like I said before, if the mindsets are aligned, you can make it work, right? It's just, the man has to be secure enough in himself to not try to oppress a woman like that. And that's typically why it doesn't work, because the man's not secure in his lot in line. So what he'll try to do is to control a woman like that. And so that's why most of the time it doesn't work. But in a modern society, especially amongst the Black culture, where women are making twice as much as men, I kind of expect that dynamic to happen. So for you to say Nigerian women don't pay for men, no, it's called grown women in relationships, whether you're Nigerian or not. If you're African American and you live in America, unfortunately, the diaspora has put us in a position where our women are making more than the men. So a Black woman may be the one that's carrying the load in modern society, but that's another conversation for another day. Y'all see how I go on tangents? That's why I put in the description of my channel, Neurodivergent Diva. I give my over-analytical thoughts, detailed thoughts on certain topics. So even though I'm talking about the show, I'm going to throw some, insight from my own point of view in here and there. So sorry about that if you don't like it, because if you don't, there's other content creators, you can just leave. I don't want you to leave, but if you have an issue with my way of recapping, I don't want you to be somewhere where you don't want to be. I'm not in the business of keeping those that don't want to be kept. Anyway, so all right, so they start heading to the float. They're showing all these different offshoots of the float. Ashley's trying to coerce Kiarna, I noticed, into kissing her. Because like I said, Ashley takes him down, and I think she's trying to target Kiarna. She says, yeah, if you want to kiss me, you can kiss me, Kiarna. And I'm like, oh, Lord. And then Kiarna twerks on her. I don't know. It's just small things I notice about Ashley where I'm like, I see you. I see why you and Michael worked out. Watch out, y'all. And then after the float, they all go sit down and have lunch afterwards. So they're all sitting. They're talking. This is Monique's opportunity to kind of merge within the group and download everybody on what's been going on with her. So I forget how it got brought up, but it was asked, I think, by, oh, Wendy. Wendy asked, how was everything with Chris? And so Monique then tells us, the audience and the table, that Chris was the type of man that, like I said before, saw his marriage as one way, right? Saw his wife as one way, as some sort of function more than a person in the relationship. Monique says she felt like she was a piece of meat and she really didn't bring any value to him other than basically breeding and fucking him. And she said she wanted to test that theory because he was always like nice to her only when he wanted some, right? So she tested it, gave him some. He rolled over, went back to his normal ways, and then that's when she made the decision to say, you will never enter me again. Like, not enter. And yeah, that's a shame, because I thought that they were okay, but according to Monique, she said she started feeling disconnected in the marriage when her daughter was 6 months old. Milani's 10. So then she had Chase not too long after Milani. And so you put in another child, and I don't know, ebbs and flows, ups and downs. It happens. It's just a shame because they were a beautiful couple, and you know, black love. I love black love, but it pains me, especially on these shows when you see these black couples break up, because it's so discouraging. Like, and I, you know, another side note, I want to get remarried again because I've been married twice. I've been married to white men before. Because I noticed very early just dysfunctions that turned me off to being in like an exclusive relationship with someone of my own race, and not to mention the dysfunction within our community. For some reason, I always felt. Oh my God, I'm sorry, y'all. I got an Amber Alert. I got an Amber Alert. So yeah, so back to that. Not to mention, I've felt like before, like sometimes depending on the state of mind, because it's not all black men. As I heal, I'm learning more that, you know, it's just, you got to find someone with a healed mindset. But it seems like there's like a competition amongst the men and the women. If the woman is achieving a little much or a little more, the certain type of black man feels like he has to humble her and keep her in her place. And I never liked that. And then I just didn't like the things that I saw growing up in my community in terms of like my own family members and how they treated women. It was disgusting. So going back to Chris and Monique, I was like, wow, I didn't realize it was that bad. And then she even brought up season 3 when they were in France, how Giselle actually did point out to Monique something that, you know, she was like, oh yeah, this is true. So Giselle let her know, well, she brought up when they were in France how when a man is successful and he's used to you catering to him, and then it has to become about you, they usually don't like that because that throws off the program. And so that's what I'm talking about, that whole oppressive mindset. And that's why I say it's not a exclusively black man thing. It's just, I saw it a lot because of, you know, my upbringing and what society puts on the black man, American society, and just the world in general. It does rob a black man of his faculties and like his sense of pride, his power. He feels powerless. So when he feels powerless, the power you want to assert is over your woman, and that's not right, because just like black men, you deal with stuff, black women deal with stuff too. So anywho, let's keep going, because as y'all can see, I can just go. Let me move on to the next scene. Oh no, let me finish this one. So Monique says that being in the group actually added years to her marriage, because instead of arguing with Chris, she was arguing with the women. So it's also not lost on me. And I find, you know, now I understand why they were able to split up shortly after she left the Housewives of Potomac, because she no longer had that buffer. So there was that. All right, so now we get to Angel and Bobby house searching. Not really much happened in this scene that stands out to me, because like I said, Angel's starting to become a chop for me. She was, you know, just reiterating to Bobby how it made her feel bad about the whole catfish comment. Bobby even tells her, though, that, you know, at the end of the day, you guys are still going to continue to be friends, so you have to let it go. Kind of, to me, the way I saw it, implying to his wife, even you have to let it go. And, you know, Angel's like, well, you know, it's hard for me to let things like that go. Yeah, we know, but it's old. It's up and it's stuck. You're the one that's stuck. So let it go. This is a TV show. So anyway, and then I put in there that note about her being more upset with Wendy, but I said that at the top of the recap, so I don't need to bring that up again. Oh, Angel, so disappointing. So anyway, so now next scene, we've got Giselle, Ashley, Tia, and Kay going to lunch, right? And so I noticed when they were talking, Tia made the statement that it was nice meeting Grace. Now, here's my thing. Didn't Giselle introduce you as her friend, and you're just now meeting her daughter? So, and then Giselle tells them that her podcast, Reasonably Shady, that she has with former housewife Robin Dixon, has hit 10 million downloads. That's an accomplishment. I know they launched in 2021, so it's only been 4 years, and for you to hit that many downloads, that's pretty good. And from what she was saying, they're one of the top Black podcasts for Black Effect for iHeartRadio. And so, yeah, that's, I mean, I got to give people, you know, credit where it's due. Good for you guys. Congratulations. And then, so she says she wants to host a party to celebrate that. And then Kiarna comes in and says that shortly after she left Pride, she got a phone call from Miss Cookie, the hood chick herself, the hood villain herself. She says Cookie told her, no, go back. She says that while she was on the phone with Cookie got a call on the other line from Chris Samuels, Monique's ex-husband, saying how he was upset because he had heard that Monique was trash talking him when they were at that lunch, saying he was a bad husband that gave bad sex. That was not what Monique said. In fact, even before, because I've been watching since the beginning, Monique has always said that their sex is good or was good. So the bad sex part, I don't know where you got that from. But what I found interesting about this was that the way things lined up, right? The way Kiarna's telling the story, I'm not buying any of it. What I think happened, it was someone, I don't know if it was Giselle, I don't know if it was Ashley, I don't know. It probably didn't even happen. But I don't even think Chris said anything to Cookie of the sort. What I think is Giselle and Ashley put Kay up to this. That's what I think. To drive this story home and this narrative to make Stacey the target in this season. It's so pathetic. Then you even got my girl Tia coming in, throwing her 2 cents in about how, you know, Stacey is, you know, she's trying to give her the benefit of the doubt and she doesn't trust her. And I'm just like, not you too. Like, is it that serious? Now, yes, I'm not going to downplay how people feel regarding Stacey, because Stacey does tell white lies. You know, she does. But they're not vicious. They're not malicious. They're not going to make or break your life. And you all are giving us a show. So, yes, it's a reality show. That's not scripted. But it is staged. We know this, okay? So for us, it's not so bothersome. You're making it entertainment for us, but it doesn't really bother us that Stacey does that, because all of the housewives do it. In fact, Giselle, you're doing it right now by safeguarding your relationship, which I understand. But why are you holding Stacey more accountable for doing the same thing that most housewives under the sun have done? That's what I'm saying. Like, us old school vets that have been watching from the beginning, we don't like it. It might appeal to a certain mindset or a newer viewer, but we don't like it. Especially if we're older women who have lived and we have life experience under our belt. We get the different, like, you know, intricacies of life. So anyway, let me see. So, oh, okay. So then they're like, well, where did he get this from? Kiarna's like, it was Stacey, y'all. And this is why I was like, girl, you are not selling this carrier pigeon role that you have. It's just not convincing me. It's making you look like a fool. the more you do and you try to go after her, the more foolish you look. I would be in the background telling Giselle and Ashley, look, y'all gotta stop. Like, stop sending me on your missions, because I'm starting to look like a dummy. Go back to the drawing board, okay? All right, so the next scene, which I like this scene very much. It was good to see them finally sit down and talk. So we get Wendy and Monique sitting down. Now, Monique reveals to us that, hold on, I was getting a call. Sorry about that.
Emergency alerts 8 minutes ago.
Y'all, I gotta go to Apple because this dang on watch likes to have random conversations with me sometimes at the oddest times. I was in church and I was sitting like, and it was quiet and the things just start talking. It's so embarrassing. But anyway, back to the scene. So Monique tells us that Wendy was actually the first person to reach out to Monique after the fight between her and Candace, which I thought was interesting. And why I think it was interesting is I get it. I get it, Wendy. You got a sense of loyalty to Candace, which I could appreciate, right? However, that same season, Wendy hadn't really done anything to you. Actually, Monique hadn't done anything to you. So it wouldn't have looked bad for you to stand in your own autonomy, right? Separate from Candace, and have maybe a on-screen sit down showing compassion and talking to Monique and trying to get her side of the story. No, what you did in that season was you jumped on the bandwagon to ice her out. Giselle's bandwagon, okay? So I like that you took the initiative to do that. I quite frankly don't see anything wrong with it. It's very grown up in my opinion. But the way you moved about it, and I'm glad Monique put it out there. And then, of course, Wendy had to, for her sake, say that she didn't reach out to connect with her. It was actually Monique. It doesn't matter. The fact that you guys connected after the fight and we never knew anything about it, I'm looking at you a little different now. Because honestly, with the shit you got happening, I'm interested to see who reached out to you and how this is going to pan out for you later in this season, and if God willing you're able to come back for season 11. And then let me see how much grace you were expecting from people, and if you got that, because the way y'all all turned on Monique so quick was not cool. That's one thing I give to Ashley. Ashley stood 10 toes down. Her and Karen, more so Ashley though, because Karen can be a little finicky sometimes. But yeah. So anyway, Monique asked Wendy about her and Giselle's friendship. She says that they're becoming friends or whatever. Monique's kind of looking at her like, oh, okay. Then she, in her confessional, because Wendy tells her, I think you and Giselle should sit down and have a talk, which I do too. I can't wait to see that. And then, hold on, I lost my train of thought. Oh, so then Monique in the confessional, she speaks about how, maybe we could, forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean reconciliation. Back in the day, I used to go hard and now I'm a little bit more calm. And she, like I said in my previous recap, us air sign women, we could be literally, we're air signs, right? So we could be a breeze, we kind of complement all of the elements. Fire, we spread. The water signs, we give you life when you're drowning. Earth signs, you need air in order for you to stand strong. So the strongest element, in my opinion, is air, wind, because, tornadoes, you name it. So with that being said, when you piss us off, just don't piss us off, like I said. So yeah, I was like, I'm glad she said she used to go hard, because she did, but that's because she's a Libra. She's an air sign. You cross her and it's a wrap. So anyway, so then Monique asked Wendy about Karen. Now this is what disappoints me, and this is why I said Karen could be finicky. Wendy tells Monique how Karen did not show up to the reunion, so she wasn't there for them to kind of settle where their differences were. Wendy was writing for Karen during that season where she was going through her stuff, her legal stuff, right, with the DUI. And Karen was talking smack about her, not really being supportive. And even in her video where she thanked everybody for supporting her throughout all that time, failed to failed to support Wendy or give Wendy her kudos. And I think it was even brought up at the reunion that Stacey said Karen told her to watch out for Wendy because Wendy was very smart and intelligent. So I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know if that's just giving a warning of the certain personalities you're going to be engaged with versus talking crap, because Karen brought Stacey in. So I don't know if I could really constitute that as talking crap or just giving you a warning. But again, mature, smart people, it doesn't matter who gives you a warning. You're going to learn for yourself on your own experience. So anyway. Yeah. Oh, so then they talk about Cookie, because Wendy says that no one has really talked to Karen. We've been getting information about Karen by way of Cookie. So then Monique is like, oh, Cookie, that's a whole demonic entity. I wouldn't trust her, because apparently Karen met Cookie through Monique. And Monique stopped dealing with her because she saw how foul Cookie was. Cookie's the type of person that will lie about stupid things and talk crap about you while smiling in your face. She seems to be a little bit of a social climber. From what I've seen online, she's actually crossed over to other shows. So Love and Marriage DC, there's a couple on there, I guess, where she was responsible for starting a rumor that they were cheating on each other. So yeah, so Cookie is foul. And I sense that. Shit, I could smell the fucking Boone's Farm and Black and Mild on her when she first hit the scene with that greasy ass wig and then that crazy ass shirt she chose to wear with those big old toppers. Anyway, I don't like Cookie. So I don't like her. So when Monique said, watch out for her, basically like, cause she doesn't like me, and she's the type of person that, you might want to like double check what she says, because she could be lying. They even brought up how, I guess when Monique met Cookie, Cookie had said that she was the daughter of the godfather of go-go, which is a popular style of music in the DC area, Chuck Brown. She said that Chuck Brown was her father. Turns out Chuck Brown wasn't her father. So yeah, people like that you do have to kind of watch. I never like when people like to fake the funk on who they are. It's like at the end of the day, you got to sleep with yourself. Why are you trying to convince people something that it's not? Your truth is going to come out anyway to the people who are real, that are true to it and not new to it. They're going to see through your shit. So I was like, all right, this damn Cookie got to go. So, and then Monique asks Wendy about her and Stacey's relationship, and says that she may want to keep an eye on Stacey because Stacey seems to be really, really calculated in how she's moving, and she seems to want to become like Wendy. And I was like, okay, the calculated, I guess, but the copying, I don't quite see that yet. I don't, because Stacey, in my opinion, is her own, beast. She don't have to try to be like anybody. She does her thing on her own. And yeah, that was the end of that scene. All right, so next scene, we get Timo, Stacey, and Tia at Araballa's swim lesson. So they're walking up, Timo and Stacey, and Stacey tells him, oh, can you smile? Can you look happy or whatever? Because I don't think Timo really wanted to be on camera, but he's supporting Stacey. So Tia walks in, and before she says this, I thought this was cute. Stacey said last year when she was with that guy TJ, it was a drought because they weren't sexually active, but now it's raining because her and Timo are getting it in, and mom and dad are having fun. And I love that. A healthy sexual relationship, oh, I could dream of that. I hate when you get relationships that have 80% of everything, and then if that healthy sex life is in that 20% that you're not getting. I don't know. For me, I'm a sex positive person. I gotta have good sex. I gotta have good sex. Because I don't want to cheat on my spouse, right? I want to crave you. So I'm glad that she is getting it in with Timo, and they seem to be happy. But anyway, so Tia meets with them, and she is saying how, I believe in her confessional or to Tia, I forget, how she wanted to soft launch Timo. So she has not introduced Timo to the other ladies intentionally. And I get it. These women are foul. You know, these random rumors that always come up about these husbands, how their names get dragged through the mud on these shows. I don't blame her, not 1%. Him being an executive at Audi as well. No, we're not playing with the money. So, Stacey, you do what you got to do to protect your family and, you know, the infrastructure. Because like I said, the same thing with Giselle. They could cancel the show tomorrow. You still want to walk off into the sunset with your man and your assets. So, I don't blame her for not one bit. So then Tia asks her, like I said, if he's introduced Timo to the other lady. She says no. And so Tia's asking more questions. She says in her confessional that this is her opportunity to kind of be like Sherlock Holmes. So she starts asking questions about how she knows Chris and if Chris has ever discussed his divorce from Monique with her. And Stacey's kind of like giving non-answers, which my antennas went up a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I was like, oh, Stacey, why are you lying? But then they went down because I'm like, Stacey's smart. That's why I give grace. I can't speak for all the other people that recap and are on Stacey's behalf. They ride for her. But for me, I understand the strategy behind the way she's moving. I wish it wasn't as obvious. It's only obvious because the women are trying to draw attention to it. But like I said, I totally understand it and I respect it. So Tia says that she's trying to give space of benefit of the doubt to Stacey, and it's kind of dwindling a little bit. Honestly, Tia, with all due respect, I really don't care, because you, after seeing how you run in your house with your kids and your husband, you might want to focus your attention on that and getting that shit together for the sake of television. Okay. And then, so she invites them to lunch or dinner. They're going to have like a triple date. Tia, her husband, Eddie and her husband. And the intention was to have Stacey and Timo come. Timo quickly declines and says he's going out of town. When I was looking at him decline, I was looking at the way him and Stacey were kind of feeding off of each other's energy. And, you know, I guess that was Timo's way of cueing her, like, no, I don't want to go. Because I'm pretty sure Stacey has downloaded Timo on the dynamics of the show, the dynamics of the women. And Timo's being smart, like, I don't know if I want to go. Because we're watching this scene, but we don't know what went on in depth within this scene, at length, I mean. And we don't know what was edited out. So we don't know what kind of energy was being, you know, transmitted between the three of them. And that's probably why Timo was like, I'm not feeling it. Because the way Tia was questioning Stacey, I wouldn't be comfortable being around her either. You know what I mean? So I got that. So Tia's like, well, you know, it'd be nice if you introduced him or whatever. And then here's Stacey, which, again, I get it. She's like, well, how about that? When Giselle introduces her man, I'll introduce Timo to everyone else. And the Tia's like, also when pigs fly. Exactly. So if you can say that, Tia, and I'm glad she said that, when pigs fly. So if you can say that and make the allowance for Giselle to not introduce her man, why is it so paramount, and why is it expected of Stacey to introduce her man? The double standards just, So, all right, anyway, next scene. So we have Giselle and Grace at the event that she's going to have her party at. I guess Grace is helping set up. She's with the party planner. She lets us know that Robin is not going to be attending the event. And she says, you know, full transparency, Robin doesn't have a sense of pride on how she left the show. So she, you know, doesn't feel, I guess, comfortable being on camera with the ladies. Robin, you brought that on yourself. You were very flippant and dismissive about covering up what was going on with you and Juan, and like your attitude behind it. When that story came out about him going to the hotel with Home Chick, you giving the details by way of a paywall, like you brought all of that on yourself. So for you to tuck your tail, I mean, I get it, but again, you brought that on yourself. I think it actually would have served you better to attend the event, because, you know, next, you know, why are we over it? Well, somewhat over it. But don't make it a bigger thing than what it is, especially when it's self-inflicted. So anyway. So, Oh, this is what Giselle said this in the scene, and I was like, well, why would he know that? So she mentioned, she's like, oh, the girls aren't feeling Stacy. Did you know that? And I'm thinking like, well, how in the hell would he know? Like, he's not a part of the group. And then she explains why they're not feeling Stacy, because she was thinking about disinviting her to the event. And I'm just like, y'all just look pathetic. And then the last thing I wanted to correct, because it showed on the screen that Grace is actually 19 years old, not 21. I thought she was 21, so let me correct myself. She's actually 19 years old, so my bad. I thought she was 21 because she was in a bar, but I guess they make exceptions for her to be at that event because it was a show, so maybe that's why they let her in the bar. But that's why I thought she was 21, so my bad. All right, so next scene. We have Eddie, Wendy, and Tia and Rob. Okay, so man, Miss Wendy, these finger waves, you look good, girl. You look good. So Eddie and Wendy walk in, and she's got her hair finger waved. She's got a nice little dress on. She looks cute. They sit down. They're all, talking, getting to know each other as a couple. Tia and Wendy, they both agree that they get along well because of their Nigerian heritage, which Wendy, it's very ironic to me that you can embrace Tia with no issue, but you gave Nneka the business. So I'm not, I don't know. I was thinking about that. I said, okay, so Nneka was a problem. Tia's not. Both Nigerian. Let me see what the differences are. So I read Wendy's book. And Wendy actually wanted to be a lawyer, but she did not, I guess, pass the bar. And so what they did, her family, is they figured out a way for her to get some sort of professional doctorate degree of some sort. But, because it was hard for her to become a lawyer, JD is out. So what's the next best thing? Okay, get a PhD. So there's that. Nneka was a lawyer. So maybe there's something with that. Nneka's achieved something that you can't. Also, Nneka came from money. So where it counts in the States, okay? So she had assets. Her people had property. Her people had, all of this land and everything. Well, Tia comes from money, but she comes from royalty. Royalty doesn't really, it's impressive here in the States, but we're a capitalistic country, not a monarchical country, so we don't really follow that. So maybe Wendy's not threatened by that. So you see what I'm saying? So I'm like, I find it very interesting how Wendy is welcoming Tia, but she gave Nneka the blues. But that's just me. All right, so they're all talking. They ask how long they've all been together. Tia says her and Rob have been married 17 years, but they met in 1998. Wendy and Eddie met when they were 17, but they've been married for 14 years because Wendy wasn't trying to give Eddie a chance because Eddie didn't have a car. And then when they connected back in college, she saw him as a man because he was actually doing something for himself, which I get. And then Tia brings up that she was going to invite Stacy, but Stacy said that Timo couldn't make it. And then Tia, being messy, tells Wendy, and I know she knew what she was doing, that Stacy said that she didn't feel safe introducing Timo to everyone else, that she actually felt like Tia was the safest. I don't think she said it in that way. I could have missed something, but I don't remember her saying it in that way. But, the show must go on. And Tia, like I said, you lost points for me in this episode because you're on that bandwagon to target Stacy. That's what I see. You really don't have a real qualm with her. You shouldn't, because if anything, if she looked at you as a person to soft launch her husband with, you should actually take that as an honor instead of trying to throw her under the bus for it. So in a way, you kind of did Stacy a favor by showing how things can happen and why she shouldn't bring her man around. Because look at y'all some messy bitches. Why would I bring my jewel around you for you to poke holes in it and find issue? It's like I said, when things matter to you and they're important, you safeguard it. And this Tia moving the way that she moves, to me, justified Stacy's actions for me on why she didn't want to bring her husband around. I didn't like that. I did not like that. So of course, this sparks Wendy's curiosity, like, oh, she said that? They call her on three-way, which you guys are calling this lady while you're on a double date. Are you not enjoying yourselves? Why is Stacey in everybody's mouth this season? Okay. So they call her. They confront her. Catch her in a lie. They do because they said that Timo was flying out, but Timo had actually not flown out. He was coming back. So basically the stories didn't line up. And then Stacey tells Tia over the speaker, I don't like how you're trying to drive a wedge between me and Wendy. Calls her right out. And then Tia says, well, it's not that I'm driving a wedge. You're driving a wedge because you can't keep up with your lies. So there's back and forth, back and forth. And like I said, I didn't like that. Because like I'm giving her grace, Stacey, because like I said, the strategy she's applying is just housewife strategy. You guys are just mad at her because she is better at it than you are. All right, so I think that was it. Caught in a lie. Angel and Kate. Oh, okay. Brings up Angel, Wendy drama. Says Wendy. Oh, yeah. So they spoke about that. So, yeah, they're drawing attention to how Angel is handling being upset about the whole catfish comment. Girl, your anger is misplaced. Giselle is the one that actually brought it up. Now, Wendy did laugh a little extra hard, but she's not the culprit that you should be mad at. Anyway, next scene. So, final scene, it's the party. So they all show up. For this to be Giselle's party, I didn't like the look. She had on this cute little white dress, but the hairstyle did not complement the dress. And this is why I said Giselle gets it right and wrong for me. More wrong than right, because she's a beautiful woman. But the way she gets dressed sometimes or styles herself, it dates her. It makes her look older. It makes her look like she's stuck in a time warp. It's very hodgepodgey. It doesn't make sense. I'm not a fashionista like that, but I'm not on a reality TV show. So I don't know. I would at least invest in the stylist to where they can make me look more appealing. But especially if this is my party, because she did not. I was like, ooh, girl. Wendy actually looked better than her at this party, because when Wendy walked in with that green dress and them finger waves, I said, girl, you looking good. All right. So Angel, she walks in with Bobby and Kiana. Walks over to Giselle. Now, this is her way of confronting Giselle, right? She says that their relationship has devolved into a mercurial state. Now, this was funny because in the confessional, Giselle says she doesn't know what mercurial means. What does it mean? Side note, I was very surprised that you did not know what that meant, considering you have boasted about being college educated and you even made fun of Monique, calling her trick trash and saying she wasn't educated, but you don't know what mercurial means? So Giselle says that Angel has a delayed reaction condition. Like she responds late, she goes home, thinks about it, and then comes back. And then Giselle says she doesn't have time for that. I agree. And I said it before. It's like, that's not going to work in this dynamic because it's conflict resolution and then we're on to the next. So, yeah, Angel. Anyway, so this gentleman named Wale. Now, I didn't watch this Love Hotel show that I think it was Luann de Lesseps from Real Housewives of New York. Shannon Gabor. Shannon Bador. Shout out to you, Gabor. Shannon Bador of Real Housewives of Orange County. And then Giselle and Ashley were on this show. So I guess there was a guy that Ashley was interested in that was a contender for her, and she ended up going for someone else. He comes in. He's got roses. He's got a grill in his mouth. Giselle asks him playfully, is this for Ashley? And he kind of says to the side, no, it's not. He's clearly slighting Ashley. I don't even think he said hi to her. Ashley's looking salty on the side, which Ashley, Wale is a black man. I've never seen you show any interest in black men. So, and then you didn't even choose, you chose an older white man, I guess, from that show, from what I read and saw on the online or whatever. So if he slighted you, what's the problem? You know, you pull them, you get them, you got Josh over there, you got women coming after you, you got your pick of the litter. Why do you care because one person just paid you dust because you didn't choose them? So get over yourself. Anyway, so Tia, Wendy, and Eddie walk in, and like I said, Wendy's dress, Wendy shut it down. She had on this green, like satiny, shimmery type dress with the finger waves. The makeup was good. Like, you look like a little chocolate Barbie doll. Mwah. All right, so Giselle makes her speech, and she announces where they got the idea and how Reasonably Shady came about, which is the name of their podcast. And then she explains how they hit 10 million downloads. You know, it was created because her and Robin were bored during the pandemic, which I give kudos. They actually made use of not only the pandemic, but this platform of Housewives to launch something like this. So I find it to be very smart, because if you are given an opportunity like that, you need to maximize it as much as you can. So good for you guys. Good for you guys. All right. So as she's making the speech, who other than our hood villain, smelling like Boone's Farm and Black and Milds and stinking ass perfume with that dusty ass wig comes in. Cookie walks in. So Stacey walks over to Tia and Wendy, and she says, I want to revisit this conversation from when they called Wendy at dinner. So then Tia brings up to Stacey how she was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. She met with her and her husband at 5 a.m. She, you know, she had heard a lot of things about her, but she was trying to get to know her on her own. And quite frankly, while I can understand you presenting your case, Tia, I'm sorry, it did not land for me, because you guys are taking Stacey a little bit too seriously and taking her to task a little bit too aggressively for my taste. Like, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but I can't imagine Stacey being so malicious to the point where she deserves this type of treatment. Because I don't understand why you feel like she deserves to be targeted. But like I said, all it does is make us love her a little bit more. So Tia goes off. You know, she's saying, you know, you basically, you do these things and I just don't like it. Don't let this accent fool you, type of thing. I'm like, girl, stop. So then Stacey jokingly says, bravo, girl, bravo, you did that. Like, you know, not shooken by any means. And that's what she does. Like, and they hate it. Stacey can deflect. She can gaslight you. She can. I'll give her that. And she does it so calm. But that's the thing. If you guys are going to come after me, I need to go into my arsenal and pull out some tools that's going to mind fuck you. And that's what she's doing. She's just mind fucking y'all. While y'all are literally trying to fuck her and target her, she just mind fucks you. And y'all can't take it. But that's why y'all need to get up off her. Leave her alone. And then you won't be mind fucked. All right, so while they're all over there, it was supposed to be a conversation between the three of them, but all of the women go over there. Even the onlookers from the party, there's like a little crowd around there. So you got Charisse, who's a former OG, she's over there. You got Vivian, which, let me go back a little bit because I forgot to bring this up. I thought this was, again, mind fuck. So Vivian, let me just give a little context. Like I said, I didn't watch the season. Like, I watched half of season 7, tuned in here and there for season 8, did not watch season 9 at all. But I know Vivian. Vivian's been around for a while because she's a friend of the show. So Vivian, Stacey hosted an event last year, I guess a doggy, some sort of like auction or whatever, doggy fashion show. Vivian provided the gowns for most of the women at the party. For some reason, some beef developed between Stacey and Vivian, and they started talking mess about each other online, right? And Vivian made some snarky, nasty comments, you know, about Stacey, and tried to just, you know, smear her name or whatever. Stacey at this party in this scene walks over to Vivian, okay, with a smile on her face, touching her hair. She's like, oh, you look beautiful. Yeah. we should talk. And then says at her confessional, I've already gotten over this friendship. I'm just, I'm going to keep it classy and pay you dust. So that's what I'm saying. Like the mind fuck, you thought you were going to rattle her, and y'all just cannot take that this woman has her shit together and will not go off. She won't. She's not going to lose herself and come out of character for you. No, she's just going to go into another character that y'all don't like. But at the same time, you keep provoking this character. So, telling you, study behaviors like that, because that's how people make it in life, unfortunately. Some people would say it's fake. No, life ain't fake. Life is very real. But you do have to put on representatives here and there and navigate through certain situations, because certain situations require you to show up a certain way. You can't always show up the same way all the time. You can have variations of who you are, but you have to be able to play the game of life. And Stacey is just successfully playing the game of Housewives. And y'all don't like it. All right, so back to the scene. So they're at the table. Now, Kay is taking her opportunity to take a swing at Stacey. And she brings up how the whole Chris Samuels telling Cookie that what was said at the table when they all were eating lunch, when Monique was saying everything that she was saying. And so Stacey, she's trying to deflect. She's like, well, who said that? How would I say it? And then Cookie's like, on the phone, you said it. So don't, she's getting real nasty with her. Don't try to play stupid with me. And so Stacey attempts to ignore Cookie. She's successful at it, and it's irritating everybody else, or mainly Cookie. So then Wendy comes in, though, and she says, I met with Monique, basically being the voice of reason. And I understand what Cookie is saying, but Cookie is also the person that is going to talk bad about Monique. So if we're going to discuss Monique, we need to at least have her here so that she could defend herself, because Cookie's going to come in with a bias. So she basically, in doing that, discredits Cookie's attempt to smear anybody's name, because she's showing us and she's, revealing based on Monique's point of view, because we're all, trying to advocate for Monique, right? Well, if we going to advocate for Monique, let's be careful, because that person does not like Monique and she's vindictive. So let's not trust what she says. This thwarts the plan. So then Kiana tries to come in and say, your character is flawed or whatever. And then, before the character flaw thing, I'm sorry, this was the funny part. So Stacey, when Wendy said that, Stacey points in Cookie's direction. Cookie's like, don't point at me, real ghetto and just too hood, too much energy for this dynamic of women. You might want to go down somewhere else, because this is not where this is, needed. And Stacey, like a fucking boss, walks over, actually inches closer to Cookie, right? So she changes the direction in where she's standing, and she's pointing still, but she's pointing like towards Cookie, but from a different angle. This maddens Cookie. She's like, don't be pointing at me. And Stacey's like, I could point wherever I want. What are you gonna do? Basically, like, I can do whatever I want. You can't tell me what to do. Yeah, what are you gonna do? You gonna catch a case? You gonna hit her? We grown. We don't do that. We fight with our words and our intellect. We don't fight with that rah-rah shit. We too grown. We all over 40 years old, and we own businesses and we have children. We don't act like that. So Cookie getting too hyped, gets escorted out, which she should. She shouldn't even fucking been there. But anyway. So then now this upsets Kay, because her attempt to, put Stacey out there and embarrass her was thwarted. Credits start rolling in. Kay's going on. She's like, your character is flawed. Your character is flawed. Stacey's laughing, mocking her. She's like, you know what, Kiana? Good for you, boo. I see you. Normally you don't have this much energy. You're usually at a 0, but when it comes to me, you have a lot of energy. So you're at about a 2 now. I see you, boo. I see you. Y'all just keep doing it to yourself. Then the, oh my God, the TKO, the flawless victory. Yarna keeps trying to harp on this. Your character is flawed. You're flawed, and yelling and just clumsily says, I would trust you around my husband or whatever. And then Stacy, you don't have one. Y'all, if you look at the scene of everyone that was standing there, the onlookers, the veterans, the active housewives, Wendy, Sharice, pay attention to their faces, Giselle even, they all were trying their best not to laugh, and they were laughing in favor of Stacy, because even you can't deny that Stacy is bossing up. Like, she's owning this shit. Like, just back up off of her. Back up. So, yeah, that was the end of the episode. What else needed to be said after that? Nothing. And I love it. I love it. Stacy, you know what? Yeah, you lie a little bit. You got a little lying problem. I ain't gonna sit here and act like I don't see it, but you know, I'm okay with it. It's just a white lie, and this is entertainment. And these women are shaking themselves up. They're rattling themselves. If you notice, Giselle and Ashley are kind of pulling away a little bit more and allowing the minions to come in. And Giselle and Ashley, you may want to have a meeting of the minds and figure out another tactic, because your minions that you're sending out on your mission, they're failing miserably. They're not bringing it the way you think they are. So, and I'm gonna leave it at that. All right, let me know what you guys thought about the episode. This was a good episode. I liked it. I really did. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, that's what we got. That's what we got. All right, y'all. Have a good one. I'm gonna go back. My lunch is over. But yeah, peace and blessings to you all. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope everybody is ready. I know I am. I can't wait. My daughter and I are gonna head up to Tennessee tomorrow morning. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited, y'all. So with that being said, peace and blessings to you all. Enjoy your holidays, and I will talk to you next week about episode 9. All right, y'all. Bye.